There is no greater turning point in our lives than marriage. And these days there are countless ways you can choose who to marry. Someone you choose, someone chosen by your parents, and these days even your friends. Hello, I'm Rajat Kapoor and I welcome you to my lounge, where we're talking about what makes marriages successful. Family approval or love alone. Let's meet my first guest, Tara.
Hi, my name is Tara Sengupta. I work for a multinational company in Mumbai. My work keeps me really busy, so I don't get too much of free time. My husband and I have been married for some time, and it was definitely a love marriage. We met through a common friend, fell in love, and after some time we decided to get married. So I'm a strong proponent of love marriage, and I feel it has many, many more points in its favor than arranged marriage, though of course there are cases when both work and there are cases where both don't work.
Hello, Tara. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Why are you so against arranged marriages?
I personally feel, and this is entirely my opinion, that love marriages have a better chance of working than arranged marriages.
Why? Why do you think so?
I think the desire to make the relationship work is much more when you have a love marriage, because you obviously know a lot about the person who you've shared some time with, some intimate moments with, or whatever, and then you've decided to get married. And I just think that an arranged marriage it's like commoditizing the person who's going to get married.
That's a very strong statement.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how it's very different from buying an outfit or buying a pair of shoes or buying a laptop for myself. That's why I'm saying it's commoditized. I mean, everybody I know who's in an arranged marriage, obviously their marriage is arranged by, either the parents or elders, and
right.
And it's actually looking for someone who, in their opinion, is a good match. Whereas I think in our generation and even more in generations to come, the younger generation is very, very individualistic, and it may not be that easy to slot them in a particular slot.
What are the advantages of a love marriage for you?
I think you know the person much better, and I don't think you can fall in love with a person who's just been put in front of you, because falling in love...
But of course you can. But the whole generation and generations did. My mother fell in love with my father.
I'm talking more of this generation, and believe me, there are tons of couples in my parents' generation who were acutely unhappy because of the fact that, they had got married.
Unhappiness has nothing to do with it.
You might get to love certain aspects of that person, but I think you can share a large part of your life. You can share your body, if I may be very frank, but I don't think you can really share your soul.
You share an intimacy, you share the time. You share it over the years, and and it's not difficult to fall in love with somebody that you're sharing all this with.
I love my husband despite his faults or his shortcomings. Oh, absolutely, he's very human. Okay, so despite his shortcomings. But someone had told me many, many years back that, when you get married, it's not the big things which matter, it's the little things which matter. Like someone leaving a wet towel on the bed can become a ground for divorce. Yeah. So I think you learn to live with these little things, you learn to accept, and you want to accept it. It's not that you force yourself to.
If you want to make the marriage work, then you would deal with the little things and the big things. Whether it's a love marriage or an arranged marriage, you would have to deal with them.
Yes, you would have to deal with them, but I think there are lesser chances of you getting surprised in a love marriage where you've known the person pretty well and then you've decided to get married.
All right, we spoke to some people and we asked them if they would prefer to be in an arranged marriage or a love marriage. This is what they said.
I would prefer a love marriage, and if there's a situation where I have to get into an arranged marriage, I would like to know the person better before getting into a lifetime bond.
Preferably love marriage.
I have been in a love marriage, which again has its pros and cons. So yeah, maybe I wouldn't mind giving an arranged marriage a try.
Is this your first marriage?
I have been married before.
And was that an arranged marriage?
No, that was not.
That was also a love marriage. Do you think there are too many expectations in a love marriage?
I'll say there are a lot of expectations, but they're probably a little more realistic.
Okay.
You know, because I would only expect things from my husband which I know he's able to give, and I don't mean financially or materially, but I mean emotionally or even otherwise.
You're right. We spoke to our counselor, Sharita Shah, and we asked her what are the advantages and disadvantages of a love marriage.
When a couple who have gotten into a love marriage begin their married life, the initial stages become more comfortable for them because of the level of familiarity and comfort that they have with each other. But at the same time, the disadvantages are that their level of compromise becomes much more, as well as their expectations from each other become much more, making it that much more difficult to go on with life. Similarly, the advantages of an arranged marriage are that when the two individuals don't know each other very well, it's a new learning experience and a discovery about the individual on a day-to-day basis, making it that much more interesting to go on. But at the same time, the disadvantages could be that there are some individuals who find it very difficult to deal with unfamiliarity and find it difficult to adjust or find themselves feeling compatible with the opposite person.
But I think there's a great romance in that kind of arranged marriage, when two people who hardly know each other now live as husband and wife. And this process of discovery, you know, it can really take you on a high. It can be just fantastic.
And what if the process of discovery reveals some very unpalatable truths? Then what?
That's always the terrible part of it. You tell me, if you were a certain age and not, you didn't find love, you would not marry?
No, I wouldn't marry till I was absolutely sure that this is the person I wanted to get married to.
Right. So this is the price I think our generation has to pay for this freedom. Not only here, but also in Europe, I believe, because there are a lot more singles now than ever before, because you will only marry somebody you love, and where do you find that somebody you love? It's not easy. We haven't found a new way of even meeting people, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Well, there are websites now which apparently help a lot. I haven't been through any, so I really won't be able to say.
Well, contrary to popular belief, arranged marriages are no longer considered uncool. Youngsters openly admit that they'd rather concentrate on their career and let their parents pick a match for them. So are the trends changing? We'll find out after a short break. Hello and welcome back to the lounge. Arranged marriage is neatly woven into the fabric of Indian society. But is an arranged marriage a clear-cut solution to a successful marriage? Let's find out from somebody who has seen a fair share of marriages as part of his profession. Anupam Mittal.
Hi, I'm Anupam Mittal, Chairman and Founder of People Group. In my mind, an arranged marriage is when you meet somebody with the intent of getting married, and a love marriage is when you end up getting married after being in a relationship with somebody. So in that sense, Shaadi.com really can be one or the other or both, because a lot of our members get on the site for the intent of getting married. They find somebody and get married. And then there are people who use the site to get to know people and then get married, and in a lot of cases actually end up finding love. So the real question is not whether it's arranged or love, whether it provides any value in terms of meeting potential life partners. And the way we think about it is that it's a platform to provide opportunities to meet like-minded people with the intent of getting married.
Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rajat.
So you've been in this online matchmaking business for how many years?
About 10 years now. And basically, in its simplest form, it is a community of like-minded people in the sense that they've all come there with the same intent. So it operates on that philosophy because your opportunities to meet potential life partners maximize.
So how many women and men do you have on?
And at any given time, we've got about 2 million people who are active, well, who have a live profile. What we mean by live is somebody who's been to the site in the last 30 days. So.
Okay.
You know, no offense meant,
Sure.
but I know in certain social circles it's actually a bit of a joke that,
Right.
oh, you know, he says that he met her socially and fell in love, but, you know, actually they met through a matrimonial website.
There is a bit of a stigma sometimes attached to it, and it was very prevalent in the US in 1995 when these sites first came around. But since then, you've seen that that's changed fundamentally, at least in the West.
Okay.
And I expect even in India that's going to happen, or it's already started happening.
So what would marriage on this portal be like? Will it be an arranged marriage or a love marriage? Where does it?
What do you define as arranged marriage anymore?
Right.
right? And if you think of arranged marriage simply as parents showing their children somebody and them deciding to marry them without much say in the decision, I think those type of marriages are becoming irrelevant.
Right.
At least in urban India. On the net, I'd say that if you define arranged marriage as meeting somebody with the intent of getting married, then I'd call it an arranged marriage. Because love marriage to me, or what I call the romance marriage really, is more about ending up in marriage with somebody, as opposed to meeting them with the intent of getting married.
Right, right. What are the unreasonable demands that people have come up with in their profiles?
Well, that's a very interesting question, actually, because if you look at newspaper matrimonial columns, they're very insightful. If you look at what happened in the 70s versus what's happening now. In the 70s, if you look at those ads, the focus was on looking for, from a man's perspective, looking for innocent, fair woman, whatever that means. And for women, it was looking height and profession was very important. And if you look at what's happening today, compatibility is where the emphasis is. So people talk about looking for compatible working partner for XYZ. So that's very telling. In the last 2-3 decades, we as a culture, as a society, have moved away from what I guess we can term as more superficial requirements to what perhaps are more determinants of a successful marriage.
Because in those days, marriages worked. You know, by and large, they worked. Because there was no option, there was no way out of a marriage.
So the requirements have changed. Women have a larger voice, and rightfully so. And parenthood is considered very different than what it was. And that, I guess, determines that.
Well, let's hear what a counselor, Sharita Shah, has to say about the skepticism people have when it comes to arranged marriages.
I think the skepticism related to having an arranged marriage in the younger generation is more to do with the fact that there is an unsurety about what the partner is going to be like, and the very fact that they have to spend the rest of their lives with this individual without having known this individual or having a level of comfort makes them very skeptical about the concept of arranged marriages.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
You know, we did some surveys some time back, and 75% of people, and this was very surprising to me personally, young people in this country we surveyed, came back saying that they would want to marry somebody that they could evaluate in some form, but they wouldn't want to do it without the consent of their parents. 75% said they wouldn't do it without the consent of their parents. We were shocked.
It is shocking. My God.
What that tell, you know, in a way, it's almost like it's not rebellious anymore, right?
Also, is it true that a lot of youngsters are asking their parents to fix somebody for them because they don't have the time to do it?
I think what's happening, Rajat, and the problem is that not everybody can find a partner very easily, especially in this country. For all the emphasis that we put on marriage in this country, the potential to meet, or the opportunities to meet potential life partners
Are non-existent.
I mean, you look at the workplace ratios, right? It's 20% female to 80% men. So the point is, I think people are looking for ways, and especially given our culture, right? In our culture, it's not about, you know, fall in love, and although there is a lot of romanticism in our culture, but marriage is also looked upon as a life stage. Hence, there's a time during which you need to get married so that, you know, you...
Right.
And so there's so much pressure on people, but meeting people is very, very difficult.
So in arranged marriage, do you think it's the families which are matched more than the people who are getting married?
Increasingly, I think, given the emphasis on individuality and kids really finding their own way in this world, that's moved from maybe, you know, I was talking about the survey that we did, that it's done more together with parents and their kids.
Okay.
So I don't think in urban India today, parents can impose their choice on their kids. It has to be done together.
Well, we have heard two perspectives. Now let's see which side my next guest comes from, but after we come back.
Yeah, you have to give it time.
Right.
To know the person very well, for the physical intimacy to come in. The first night is, it's not love then.
Hello and welcome back to the lounge. We are discussing the difference in success rates of an arranged marriage and a love marriage. While Tara here feels there's nothing like choosing your own mate, my next guest has a different opinion. Let's meet Prashant.
Hi, I'm Prashant Pankaj. I'm working as a designer with a leading English newspaper. I have opted for an arranged marriage 4 years back, and I'm very happily married for the last 4 years, and it is working for me. Many people, they think that in an arranged marriage, you know, the boy and the girl don't get to meet each other. But nowadays things have changed, like you know, you have an option of meeting the girl, getting her know well, and then say a yes or a no. Because in an arranged marriage, you have no expectation, the expectation level is zero when you marry. So every day it is a new surprise.
Hi Prashant.
Hi.
Welcome on the show.
Thanks.
So you've been married how long?
4 years.
4 years. And yours was an arranged marriage.
Mine was arranged marriage.
How did that happen?
My parents were looking for a bride.
Okay.
So they were sending me photographs. And
Where were you?
I was in Bombay.
And your parents?
In Patna.
In Patna, okay.
Yeah.
So then they sent you pictures of...
Yeah, they used to send me the pictures, and then they just called me up saying that, you know, there's one girl, like, we like her very much.
Okay.
So I didn't just come in and have a look. So I went there, met her, said yes.
But you were, from the beginning, you were okay with the idea of an arranged marriage?
Yeah, from the beginning. I personally wanted to go in for an arranged marriage only.
But why?
See, the work I used to do, and I never had time for, like, socializing or all this thing. And see, mine was a small
again, the
agency.
problem of opportunities, where do you meet people?
Absolutely.
And I met her, and like, we went out for a day.
Okay.
And by evening, it was a yes.
From both sides?
From both sides.
Wow. There was an option of saying no?
There was an option of saying no.
Then how long before you got married? After that? After you said yes and she said yes?
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
In these 4 months, did you meet very often?
No, it was all on the phone, every single day. On a marriage day, we were not completely strangers with each other. We knew a lot about each other.
Because you had spent a lot of time
On the phone, yeah.
Right,
But
it was just a voice so far?
Just a voice,
And
yeah.
now it's also a physical presence?
A physical presence.
And...
But then by that time, we knew, like, almost, say, what, 60% of each other, our qualities are, like, what kind of a human being the other person is.
Right.
Yeah,
So it was more...
I think it's a fantastic point Prashant's making is, while they were on the phone, he says 60% we already knew, which means the things that he thinks are important are very different from, you know, a lot of, in a love marriage, if your definition of love is that 80% is chemistry and 20% is then compatibility or the small things that matter in a marriage, then you know, things like that are difficult.
You know, but I think what is very exciting, I think, in an arranged marriage like this, is this idea of discovering, you know, that you are with somebody now, and you have already chosen to spend your life with that person or a substantial part of your life. And now
every single day you find something new about that person.
Now you discover, and I think it's really beautiful. I think it can be. It can be.
I agree, and you know what, Prashant, I'm really happy for you, and I'm really happy that your marriage is working out, but then I just don't think I'm brave enough to do it.
What was that process of discovery like?
Basically,
In the first week, what did you discover?
The first week was all rosy kind of a thing, because, you know, you always want to put your best
I imagine the
together.
first year would be all rosy.
Yeah, but see, in an arranged marriage, you take that much extra care so that it works.
Correct. I want to tell you something that Salman Rushdie wrote, very beautiful thing in one of his novels. He was talking about the Beauty and the Beast, you know, the fairy tale. So he says in the subcontinent, every marriage is the story of Beauty and the Beast. Because this woman does not know the husband she's going to marry.
Right.
She goes there. He sexually violates her.
Interesting.
He's a beast for her. As far as she's concerned, he's
interesting.
And slowly she would come to love that beast.
Right.
The love stays high, or does it come down, or expectations are a problem?
No, it goes
Higher.
higher and higher.
Oh my God.
So you love her more now than you ever did?
Yeah, more than what I did, what I loved her on the first year or the second year.
Our consular, Sharita Shah, has something to say about the change in mentality with regards to arranged marriage.
I think the concept of arranged marriages is now making a comeback with the generation now, with the younger generation now joining the workforce at a much younger age. It becomes difficult for them to find an ideal partner. Also, there is just that much time left for them to socialize and meet people. Whereas with the advent of the matrimonial websites, it makes it a lot easier for them to find an ideal partner at any corner of the world as well. So it's definitely making a comeback.
Comeback for arranged marriages. What is, according to you, the big danger of love marriages?
By the time you get married, you already know the person very well.
Okay.
Okay, to some extent it's an advantage. Okay, but after the marriage, then there are chances that you take that other person for granted.
Okay.
It might happen.
I want to ask all of you, how is a relationship in a love marriage different from a relationship in an arranged marriage?
I'll answer that a little differently. You know, I think any marriage is doomed for failure if you look at it as the end of the journey. There is discovery in every step of the way.
Right.
I genuinely feel that marriage is actually a new first step, and then you keep going higher and higher, and you know, you take it as a
Most
journey.
films end with the marriage, no? So
Yeah,
in our
well-
minds also, I think it's the end, whereas it should be the sequel, the beginning of the sequel, actually.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's what happens in love marriages, right? Marriage is what it culminates in, and hence, great, you've achieved that, now what? Welcome to reality. And that's when you fall flat on your face. And
Okay, one last thing. In an arranged marriage, is the physical intimacy an awkward thing, or surely very
In the
different from a love
starting,
marriage?
yes, it is.
Yeah, because now it's a stranger in your
Yeah,
bedroom.
in the starting, yes, it is. It is awkward. Yeah, you have to give it time
Right.
to know the person very well for the physical intimacy to come in. The first night is, it's not love then, because, you know, it's just a ritual what you have to perform kind of a thing. But
Well put.
Really sweet, Prashant.
And slowly the intimacy
Slowly, yeah.
develops. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for coming on the show.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure
Great
talking
for
to you.
having us.
Thank you. With a clutter of matrimonial advertisements in print and on the net, it's no longer considered an act of desperation when you're looking for a partner. The mentality surely is changing, but you cannot guarantee the success of a marriage based on its type. It always demands hard work and compatibility. If you have any stories to share with us, do write in at lounge@ndtvgoodtimes.com. This is Rajat Kapoor saying goodbye till we meet again. Bye-bye.
Brought to you by World's Lifestyle. The world wants to be you.
This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Good Times.